Hello everybody, my name is Santi Aragon. I'm 26 years old, out of Miami, Florida. I'm getting ready for the Nationals in November. I'm about 7 weeks out right now. I'm here training today at Bodies by Lolita, gym in South Florida in Pembroke Pines. If you're ever in the area, come check it out. It's an awesome gym.
Dave Palumbo with RxMuscle.com in the Iron Asylum with Santi Aragon. We are here 5 weeks out from the 2014 NPC Nationals. We are here in Bodies by Lolita in Pembroke Pines, Florida, doing a little arm training. Welcome, Santi.
Oh, thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. We got reports down from Florida that you were looking real good. You're getting ready for nationals. You're going to try to hit that welterweight class. You're packing a ton of muscle. Talk to us a little bit. Tell our community. Tell us who you are. How you got started in bodybuilding.
All right. Well, my name is Santi Aragon. You had already said that. I'm a local here in Miami, Florida. I'm 26 years old. Been doing this already. I've been competing for about 8 years. I've been competing since a teenager. Actually, I met you a very long time ago, Dave. I was a teenager in 2007 at NPC Nationals, and you were there prepping a couple guys. And I remember seeing you backstage for the first time. And, you know, as a teenager, you follow this kind of like a sport, you know. And you were like, in my eyes, you were like a celebrity at that point. I'm like, oh, my God, I met Dave Palumbo. It was pretty cool. Pretty much bodybuilding just kind of fell into my lap. I was a travel ice hockey player for 10 years, and after I finished at the age of 18, I wanted to stay competitive in something, so I kind of just picked up bodybuilding.
Well, you picked it up real well. You got a lot of mass on your body. Do you find that, a lot of guys your age are pushing more towards that men's physique division? And it is. I feel like most guys my age are going into the men's physique division because they didn't grow up in that bodybuilding background per se. They got into competing in the NPC already with that notion that they wanted to be a men's physique. Obviously, when I was a teenager, that division didn't exist. Not to say that maybe I would have gotten into that if I would have started because it was easier to get into. I don't know, but I'm glad that I kind of have my own thing with bodybuilding. Sure. Now, I'm going into nationals in 5 weeks from today. What's the goal? You're still about in the 170s right now. Do you feel like, the 180s? Do you feel like you'll be able to get down to that weight? No problem.
Yeah, I feel like I'll be fine. It is a little nerve-wracking, just because for some reason it's very hard for me to lose scale weight, if that makes any sense. I've seen in the last couple of weeks, I've been transitioning my diet into more fish, more fish. Obviously, it's less calories, but I still see myself gaining a little bit of size off of that. So it's kind of a strategy that me and my trainer, Stan McQuay, we've been working with each other for the past 2 years. And it's obviously going to be, a project per se, but I think it's doable. I spoke briefly the other day to IFBB Pro Victor Del Campo, and he just reassured me because he had the same struggles going into the USAs last year where he was very heavy and going into a welterweight division. So he kind of said, look, you're on the right track. Don't let the numbers kind of scare you.
Yeah, but you're about 5 inches taller than Victor too, right?
I look like it, but he's so dense and so wide that it makes it look even shorter. But I think that we're just around the same height.
Oh, you are. All right. Now let me ask you this question. Stan McQuay, who lives in California, you live in Florida. How'd you guys hook up?
Instagram.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny because in 2013 January last year, I wanted to compete. I wanted to do USAs, and I needed to qualify. I started posting up pictures on Instagram, and just so happens he saw my picture somehow,
And he just briefly stated on one of my pictures, like, is somebody prepping you? And I said, no, I'm actually looking for somebody. And from that point on, we got in contact with each other and started working with each other. It's been great because Stan he says that he reminds me a lot of himself when he was younger, as far as aesthetics, as far as dieting, that he has to eat a lot to kind of keep muscle on. He grows into the shows, kind of like how I try to do as well. So we kind of share that same characteristic.
I got you. Well, that makes sense. Now, arms. You got a great set of arms on you. I know a lot of guys are probably watching this saying, man, I want those arms. Obviously, there's a genetic component to arms. But, what do you feel works best for you? I'm watching you do a number of different exercises. What have you found is the most effective at building mass?
It's probably, for me, it's going to be volume, high volume. So a lot of volume, a lot of drop sets, a lot of supersets. Everything that I do for arms is going to be one bicep, one tricep consecutive, no rest periods in between. Secondly is going to be high volume, so everything's set for at least 15 reps, at least. And not to mention that if I feel like I could keep going, I'll drop set and then I'll keep going. So it's just high volume, I feel.
When you say high volume, how many sets does that work out to at the end of the day?
I think it really just depends on my mood that day, but I would say no less than four sets, anything between 15 and maybe even up to 25 and 30 reps.
Well, that's 4 sets per exercise. How many exercises will you do for arms?
Probably a group of 4. So 4 groups of one bicep, one tricep.
Okay, so you're doing like 16, but it's really double that because you're doing a tricep and a bicep, so you're doing almost 32 sets for arms. Exactly.
So It's very high pace. It feels like a mini cardio session while you're doing it. Very little rest periods. I'm in and out of that gym when I do arms. I'm in and out in maybe 40 minutes.
Wow. So you must be at a frenetic pace in there.
Yeah, just a very fast pace in and out so that I can go eat. I guess that's the motive.
With the workout like that, do you find that you need to do much cardio to get in shape?
It's funny because over time I've noticed that my body, if I keep a fast pace, I could do less cardio. But the problem is we're talking about genetics. I am predisposed to holding a lot of fat in my glutes and my hands. That's always been a problem with me. Maybe it's because of the Cuban genetics and all the rice and beans over the years. But that is probably the place where I feel like I could get dialed in everywhere very, very good, but it always comes down to the hands and glutes. So that's why my whole off season this year has been totally revamped. We revamped my whole off season this year to address those issues.
And how did you do that? You got less heavy? You stayed lean?
Yes, I stayed lean the entire year. I pretty much dieted. I wouldn't say I dieted the entire year because I ate freely when I wanted to, but I didn't feel like I wanted to because I was so concerned with, dialing in my hands and my glutes when the time came to actually diet for the show.
Right.
So I stayed right around maybe 175 pre-12 weeks out. And then I kind of started growing into the show.
So you got bigger as the show.
I got bigger. I I would say use like Kevin Levrone back in the day. He would go from like 200 pounds, and then on stage he's 240, ready to go.
Yeah, but he wouldn't train in the off season. You continued to train, didn't you?
I'm sorry. Repeat that.
I said Kevin wouldn't train in the off season. You continued to work out, obviously.
I still trained, hard and stuff like that, but it wasn't as meticulous, I would say. It wasn't so concentrated. I kind of, socialized a lot at the gym with friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the training intensity changes when the 12 weeks out period started.
Right.
But I felt like I just needed to keep my body fat in check so that when the 12 weeks started, it was easy. I feel like this is the easiest prep I've ever done, just because of that.
What's the goal at the Nationals? What would you be happy? Obviously, everyone wants to win, but what would you be happy with? What's like in your mindset, like something that you set a goal for yourself?
First place.
Okay, how can I argue with that? Right? Let's fantasize a minute. Let's say you do win, and you get your pro card. Actually, you only need to place top 2 to get your pro card nowadays.
Right.
Let's say you did that. I mean, now you're a welterweight that needs to move up to the 212 division. You know what I mean? In the pros, would you take like a year or two off, or you're a young guy obviously, or would you do like a pull a Jose Raymond and not take your pro card and continue to compete?
It's been up for debate. I have a lot of avenues and a lot of options that I can go with. One of the things that I thought about was either I've always wanted to compete in the Arnold Amateur. That's always something that I've wanted to do. I've always wanted to represent, the U.S., and I've always wanted to compete against the best in the world as an amateur in my weight class. So that's always something that I've always, we're talking about fantasizing about.
Yeah.
That's always something that I've always fantasized about. If I were to get my pro card, I think it'd be smart and respectful to cash it in and not to kind of, there's so many guys that work years and years and years for a pro card, and I just think it might be a little bit disrespectful if I say, well, I'm going to push it aside and I'm going to keep training as an amateur.
Right.
Another option would obviously be take time off and grow into a 212 class. You look at Guy, you look at Jose, that all have done it, being middleweight and welterweights, and then go up and they become really good 212 guys.
Yeah.
That's another option. And then the last option, and I know I'm going to get a lot of crap from a lot of people listening, is just jump directly right into the men's physique pro division.
You can do that. You're right. You got the haircut too. I always say
I got the haircut. Yeah. So I guess it really comes down to how can I get on stage the quickest, and how can I as an athlete, you come in as a pro, you want to make money, and you want to represent companies effectively. And if I am going to be represented by a very good company and potentially they tell me, well, we want you to try to attempt to be in the Olympia men's physique, I'm going to go where the money's at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you got crossover potential. So.
What is it?
You absolutely have crossover potential because, you're not excessively big, and yet you still have a great, structure and look for men's physique. So you really could cross to either division if you had to.
It's really a tough call because I love bodybuilding. I love the posing aspect. I love the artistic, the artistic that you can get on stage and really push yourself aside, really make yourself an individual on stage. And it's sad to know that I can cross over very easily, but at the same time, my love is always going to be with bodybuilding.
True, but they don't have to worry about glutes and hamstrings either, so that's a good thing.
That would be a dream come true for me.
Well,
that would be a dream.
Good luck at the Nationals. You look great. I think we're going to see some good things come Miami, Florida, and I think we're going to see you in the very top 5 rankings there. Hopefully you'll get the win or the second place and get that pro card. You're only 26 years of age. You got your whole future ahead of you, and we're going to be rooting for you.
I really appreciate it. I just want to do a quick shout out, if you don't mind, to I'm with this clothing company now called Elite Physique. We're launching a bunch of new shirts, new hats, all this stuff. Also, a quick thank you to my family. They've always supported me, and finally, obviously, Stan. He saw a vision. He saw the potential that I had, and he gave me the opportunity to work with me. So I really thank you. And also thank you, RX Muscle, for giving me the opportunity to speak with you guys. Hope that I'll be doing a video with you in person here in Miami, and hopefully the weather's great that weekend.
I hope so. For now, though, we are out of time. I'm Dave Palumbo with Santi Aragon in the Iron Asylum.